Let me ask you a question. Where's the book? Simple, right? You've probably got an answer ready to go. But what if I told you the answer was this?
The book is the table. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, is the book secretly a table in disguise? Nope. What's happening here is that we're missing something. Just one tiny but super important word that connects the book to the table.
And that's where prepositions come to the rescue. I want you to think of them like the GPS for your language. Seriously, they're these little words that give our sentences direction, a location, even a sense of time. Without them, we're totally lost, just driving in circles.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to fire up that GPS, figure out what it is, then use it to map our location and set our clock. From there, we'll choose our path and then zoom out to see the bigger picture. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, first things first. Before we can start our journey, we've got to get a handle on our main tool. So what exactly is a preposition?
Okay, I know the textbook definition can sound a little stuffy, but it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. A preposition is just a word that usually pops up before a noun or pronoun, and its whole job is to show how that noun connects to everything else in the sentence. It's like the bridge, you know? The little connector piece that tells your brain how two ideas are linked.
So to put it even more simply, a preposition's main gig is showing relationships. It links stuff, and by doing that, it answers some crucial questions for us, like where, when, or even how. It's all about providing that vital context so we're not left guessing. Okay, let's put this into practice. We'll start with the most common job prepositions have, mapping our location. This is where that whole GPS idea really clicks. Prepositions of place tell us precisely where something is. And when we talk about place, there's this tricky little trio that often trips people up: at, in, and on. They look easy enough, right? But the rules for using them can be pretty specific, so let's nail them down.
This little chart here makes it super clear. You use at when you're talking about a very specific point, like at the bus stop. You use in for an enclosed space or a bigger area, like living in a mansion. And you use on for a surface. So, going back to our mystery, the books were stacked on the table. See? All that confusion gone, just like that.
And while we're at it, let's tackle another classic mix-up: above versus over. It's all about how direct the connection is. Over usually means something is directly on top of or even covering something else. Think about pulling a blanket over yourself. Above, on the other hand, just means something is at a higher level, but not necessarily touching it. Like your hotel could be above the lake, sitting up on a hill. Okay, so we've got our location pinned down. Now let's move on to our next coordinate, setting the clock. Because, yep, prepositions are also absolutely key for organizing time. And would you look at that? Our friends at, in, and on are back for another round. But here's the catch. When we're talking about time, the rules are totally different. We use at for a super specific time, like at 9 a.m. sharp. We use in for bigger chunks of time, like months, years, or in the afternoon. And we use on for specific days and dates, like your birthday is on February 29th. Same words, totally different job. It's all about context.
This brings up another great little language point: the difference between being on time and in time. They sound almost the same, but they're not. If the program starts on time, it begins at the exact scheduled moment, no earlier, no later. But if you get there in time for the program, it means you made it just in the nick of time. You didn't miss it. So one is about precision, and the other is about, well, not being too late.
All right, so we've got our where and our when. Now we just need a path. And that's the third major job for our language GPS, showing direction and movement.
So you've got words like to, towards, through, across, and a whole bunch more. These guys don't just tell you where something is sitting still, they tell you where it's going. They describe the journey, the movement, and they really bring our sentences to life. They're literally drawing the route on our map.
Just look at this example. We had to swim across the river. We didn't just swim in the river, right? That could mean anything. No, we swam across it. That one little word, across, tells us the entire story. The purpose, the direction, everything. It's the difference between just splashing around and actually getting somewhere. So we've covered place, time, and direction. That's a lot. But now it's time to zoom out and see the real magic. When a preposition teams up with a noun, they create this little unit called a prepositional phrase. And let me tell you, this is where their true power is unleashed.
Think of a prepositional phrase as kind of like a secret agent in your sentence. It looks simple, maybe a little unassuming, but it's actually doing one of two very important jobs in disguise. It's acting as either an adjective or an adverb, adding all this rich detail.
And here's how you can tell what it's doing. If it's acting like an adjective, it'll answer the question, which one? Which man are we talking about? Oh, the man in the blue suit. See? It describes the noun. But if it's acting like an adverb, it answers questions like how, when, or where. Where did the children play? They played in the English class. That describes the verb played. And this, right here, is the secret to leveling up your writing from basic to brilliant.
So, when you think about it, from something as simple as telling us if the book is on, under, or next to the table, all the way to describing exactly which person we're talking about in a crowded room, these tiny words pack a serious punch. They're the little navigators that give us the context and the precision we need for our language to actually make sense.
They really are the GPS that make sure your reader or your listener arrives at the exact destination you intended. So I guess the only question left is, now that you have the GPS, where are your words going to take you?